नाथ नारायण वासुदेव हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेव हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेव श्री कृष्णचंद्र भगवान की जय। सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। जय जय गोविंद जय हरि गोविंद
जय गोविंद जय हरि गोविंद
जय 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 गोविंद जय हरि गोविंद
जय 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 गोविंद जय हरि गोविंद
जय हरि गोविंद
जय हरि गोविंद
जय हरि गोविंद
जय हरि गोविंद
श्री राधा वर कृष्ण चंद्र भगवान की
जय
सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की
जय
हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि हरि बोल मुकुंद माधव गोविंद बोल केशव माधव गोविंद बोल,
केशव माधव गोविंद बोल,
केशव माधव गोविंद बोल,
केशव माधव गोविंद बोल,
मुकुंद माधव गोविंद बोल,
मुकुंद माधव गोविंद बोल,
मुकुंद माधव गोविंद बोल,
मुकुंद माधव गोविंद बोल,
हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि हरि 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 बोल,
मुकुंद माधव गोविंद बोल,
मुकुंद माधव गोविंद बोल,
केशव माधव गोविंद बोल,
केशव माधव गोविंद बोल,
केशव माधव गोविंद बोल,
केशव माधव गोविंद बोल,
मुकुंद माधव गोविंद बोल,
मुकुंद माधव गोविंद बोल,
मुकुंद माधव गोविंद बोल,
मुकुंद माधव गोविंद बोल,
हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि हरि बोल,
हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि हरि बोल,
मुकुंद माधव गोविंद बोल,
मुकुंद माधव गोविंद बोल,
गोविंद बोल,
गोविंद बोल,
गोविंद बोल,
गोविंद बोल।
श्री कृष्ण चंद्र भगवान की जय,
जय
सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। जय जय राम कृष्ण हरि, जय जय राम, जय जय राम कृष्ण हरि, जय 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 राम कृष्ण हरि, जय जय राम, जय जय राम कृष्ण हरि, जय जय राम, जय जय राम, जय जय राम कृष्ण हरि, जय जय राम, जय जय राम, जय जय राम कृष्ण हरि, जय जय राम, जय जय राम कृष्ण हरि, 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 जय जय राम, 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 जय जय राम, जय जय राम कृष्ण हरि, 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 जय जय राम कृष्ण चंद्र की, सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय।
Hari Om everyone. The throat still has an issue, but I think I will continue. It'll have its own way. I'll have my own way. So sometimes, not that I have a great Shruti, but even that will go up and down. So please adjust. Maybe I'll cough in a between. I'll try to mute myself whenever that happens. But bear with me. We will pull along the entire session. Hope and pray that you're all doing well, being safe, and doing awesome. Nice to see all of you join in. So we will begin with 3 Oms Sahanavavatu Guru Brahma, then chant Lalita Sahasranamam and look into the 12th chapter of the 3rd canto. And while I'm chanting, Brahmacharini Divya, if you can allow people in with Purna Kumbha, that will be great. So let us begin. सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। Let us begin. ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं सिन्दूरारुणविग्रहां त्रिनयनां माणिक्यमौलिस्फुरत् तारानायकशेखरां स्मितमुखीं आपीनवक्षोरुहां पाणिभ्यां मलिपूर्णरत्नचषकं रक्तोत्पलं बिभ्रतीं सौम्यां रत्नघटस्थरक्तचरणां ध्यायेत् परामम्बिकाम् अरुणां करुणातरङ्गिताक्षीं धृतपाशाङ्कुशपुष्पबाणचापाम् अणिमादिभिरावृतां मयूखैः अहमित्येव विभावये भवानीं ध्यायेत् पद्मासनस्थां विकसितवदनां पद्मपत्रायताक्षीं हेमाभां पीतवस्त्रां करकलितलसद्धेमपद्मां वराङ्गीं सर्वालङ्कारयुक्तां सततमभयदां भक्तनम्रां भवानीं श्रीविद्यां शान्तमूर्तिं सकलसुरनुतां सर्वसम्पत्प्रदात्रीं सकुङ्कुमविलेपनामलिकचुम्बिकस्तूरिकां समन्दहसितेक्षणां सशरचापपाशाङ्कुशाम् अशेषजनमोहिनीमरुणमाल्यभूषाम्बरां जपा कुसुमभासुरां जपविधौ स्मरेदम्बिकाम्। ॐ श्रीमाता श्रीमहाराज्ञी श्रीमत्सिंहासनेश्वरी चिदग्निकुण्डसम्भूता देवकार्यसमुद्यता उद्यद्भानुसहस्राभा चतुर्बाहुसमन्विता रागस्वरूपपाषाढ्या क्रोधाकाराङ्कुशोज्ज्वला मनोरूपेक्षुकोदण्डा पञ्चतन्मात्रसायका निजारुणप्रभापूरा मज्जद्ब्रह्माण्डमण्डला चम्पकाशोकपुन्नागसौगन्धिकलसत्कचा कुरुविन्दमणिश्रेणी कनत्कोटीरमण्डिता अष्टमी चन्द्रविभ्राजदलिकस्थलशोभिता मुखचन्द्रकलङ्काभा मृगनाभिविशेषका वदनस्मरमाङ्गल्य गृहतोरणचिल्लिका वक्त्रलक्ष्मीपरीवाहा चलन्मीनाभलोचना नवचम्पकपुष्पाभा नासादण्डविराजिता ताराकान्तितिरस्कारी नासाभरणभासुरा कदम्बमञ्जरीक्लुप्तकर्णपूरमनोहरा ताटङ्कयुगलीभूता तपनोडुपमण्डला पद्मरागशिलादर्श परिभाविकपोलभूः नवविद्रुमबिम्बश्रीनक्कार्यतनच्छदा शुद्धविद्याङ्कुराकारा द्विजपङ्क्तिद्वयोज्ज्वला कर्पूरवीटिकामोदा समाकर्षिदिगन्तरा निजसल्लापमाधुर्य विनिर्भत्सितकच्छपी मन्दस्मितप्रभापूरा मज्जत्कामेशमानसा अनाकलितसादृश्य चिबुकश्रीविराजिता कामेशबद्धमाङ्गल्य सूत्रशोभितकन्धरा कनकाङ्गदकेयूरा कमनीयभुजान्विता रत्नग्रैवेयचिन्ता कलोलमुक्ता फलान्विता कामेश्वरप्रेमरत्नमणिप्रतिपनस्तनी नाभ्यालवालरोमाली लताफलकुचद्वयी लक्षरोमलताधारतासमुन्नेयमध्यमा स्तनभारदलन्मध्य पट्टबन्धवलित्रया अरुणारुणकौस्तुम्भा वस्त्रभास्वत्कटीतटी रत्नकिङ्किणिकारम्या रशनादामभूषिता कामेशज्ञातसौभाग्य मार्दवोरुद्वयान्विता माणिक्यमकुटाकारा जानुद्वयविराजिता इन्द्रगोपपरिक्षिप्ता स्मरत्तूर्णाभजङ्गिका गूढगुल्फा कूर्मपृष्ठा जयिष्णुप्रपदान्विता नखदीधितिसञ्चन्ना नमज्जनतमो गुणा पदद्वयप्रभाजाला पराकृतसरोरुहा सिञ्जाणमणिमञ्जीरा मण्डितश्रीपदाम्बुजा मरालीमन्दगमना महालावण्यशेवदिः सर्वारुणानवद्यांगी सर्वाभरणभूषिता शिवकामेश्वराङ्कस्था शिवा स्वाधीनवल्लभा सुमेरुमध्यशृङ्गस्था श्रीमन्नगरनायिका चिन्तामणिगृहान्तस्था पञ्चब्रह्मासनस्थिता महापद्माटवीसंस्था कदम्बवनवासिनी सुधासागरमध्यस्था कामाक्षी कामदायिनी देवर्षिगणसङ्गाता स्तूयमानात्मवैभवा भण्डासुरवधोद्युक्ता शक्तिसेना समन्विता संपत्करी समारूढ़ा सिंधूरवसेविता अश्वारूढ़ाधिष्ठिताश्वा कोटिकोटिभिरावृता चक्रराजरथारूढ़ा सर्वायुधपरिष्कृता गेयचक्ररथारूढ़ा मंत्रिणी परिसेविता गिरिचक्ररथारूढ़ा दंडनाथा पुरस्कृता ज्वालामालिनिकाक्षिप्तवह्निप्राकारमध्यगा भण्डसैन्यवधोद्युक्ता शक्तिविक्रमहर्षिता नित्या पराक्रमाटोपा निरीक्षणसमुत्सुका भण्डपुत्रवधोद्युक्ता बाला विक्रमनन्दिता मन्त्रिण्यम्बा विरचिता विषङ्गवदतोषिता विशुक्रप्राणहरणा वाराही वीर्यन्दिता कामेश्वरमुखालोका कल्पितश्रीगणेश्वरा महागणेश निर्भिन्ना विघ्नयन्त्रप्रहर्षिता भण्डा सुरेन्द्र निर्मुक्ता शस्त्रप्रत्यस्त्रवर्षिणी कराङ्गुलिनखोत्पन्ना नारायणदशाकृतिः महापाशुपदास्त्राग्नि निर्दग्धा सुरसैनिका कामेश्वरास्त्र निर्दग्धा सभण्डासुरशून्यका ब्रह्मोपेन्द्र महेन्द्रादि देवसंस्तुतवैभवा हरनेत्राग्निसन्दग्धा कामसञ्जीवनौषधिः श्रीमद्वाग्भवकूटैका स्वरूपमुखपङ्कजा कण्ठादक्कटिपर्यन्तमध्यकूटस्वरूपिणी शक्तिकूटैकतापन्ना कट्यदोभागधारिणी मूलमन्त्रात्मिका मूलकूटत्रयकलेवरा कुलामृतैकरसिका कुलसङ्केतपालिनी कुलांगना कुलांतस्था कौलिनी कुलयोगिनी अकुला समयांतस्था समयाचार तत्परा मूलाधारैक निलया ब्रह्मग्रंथि विभेदिनी मणिपूरांतरुदिता विष्णुग्रंथि विभेदिनी आज्ञा चक्रांतरालस्था रुद्रग्रंथि विभेदिनी सहस्रारांबुजारूढ़ा सुधासाराभिवर्षिणी तटिल्लता समरचि षट्चक्रोपरि संस्थिता महाशक्ति कुंडलिनी विसतंतनीयसी भवानी भावनागम्या भवारण्यकुठारिका भद्रप्रिया भद्रमूर्तिर्भक्त सौभाग्यदायिनी भक्तिप्रिया भक्तिगम्या भक्तिवश्या भयापहा शाम्भवी शारदाराध्या शर्वाणी शर्मदायिनी शांकरी श्रीकरी साध्वी शरश्चंद्रनिभानना शातोदरी शांतिमती निराधारा निरंजना निर्लेपा निर्मला नित्या निराकारा निराकुला निर्गुणा निष्कला शांता निष्कामा निरुपप्लवा नित्यमुक्ता निर्विकारा निष्प्रपंचा निराश्रया नित्यशुद्धा नित्यबुद्धा निरवद्या निरंतरा निष्कारणा निष्कलंका निरुपाधिर्निरीश्वरा नीरागारा गमथनी निर्मदा मदनाशिनी निश्चिंता निरहंकारा निर्मोहा मोहनाशिनी निर्ममा ममताहंत्री निष्पापा पापनाशिनी निष्क्रोधा क्रोधशमनी निर्लोभा लोभनाशिनी निस्संशया संशयग्नि निर्भवा भवनाशिनी निर्विकल्पा निराबाधा निर्भेदा भेदनाशिनी निर्नाशा मृत्युमथने निष्क्रिया निष्परिग्रहा निस्तुला नीलचिकुरा निरपाया निरत्यया दुर्लभा दुर्गमा दुर्गा दुःखहंत्री सुखप्रदा दुष्टदूरा दुराचारा शमनी दोषवर्जिता सर्वज्ञा सांद्र करुणा समानाधिकवर्जिता सर्वशक्तिमयी सर्वमंगला सद्गतिप्रदा सर्वेश्वरी सर्वमयी सर्वमंत्रस्वरूपिणी सर्वयंत्रात्मिका सर्वतंत्र रूपा मनोन्मनी माहेश्वरी महादेवी महालक्ष्मी मृडप्रिया महारूपा महापूज्या महापातकनाशिनी महामाया महासत्वा महाशक्तिर्महारतिः महाभोगा महेश्वर्या महावीर्या महाबला महाबुद्धिर्महासिद्धिर्महायोगेश्वरेश्वरी महातंत्रा महामंत्रा महायंत्रा महासना महायागक्रमाराध्या महाभैरवपूजिता महेश्वर महाकल्पा महातांडवसाक्षिणी महाकामेश महिषी महात्रिपुरसुंदरी चतुष्षष्टुपचाराढ्या चतुष्षष्टिकलामयी महाचतुष्षष्टिकोटि योगिनी गणसेविता मनुविद्या चंद्रविद्या चंद्रमंडलमध्यगा चारुरूपा चारुहासा चारुचंद्रकलाधरा चराचर जगन्नाथा चक्रराजनिकेतना पार्वती पद्मनयना पद्मराग समप्रभा पंचप्रेतासनासीना पंचब्रह्मस्वरूपिणी चिन्मयी परमानंदा विज्ञान घनरूपिणी ध्यानध्यातृध्येय रूपा धर्माधर्म विवर्जिता विश्वरूपा जागरिणी स्वपंथी तैजसात्मिका सुप्ता प्राज्ञात्मिका तुर्या सर्वावस्था विवर्जिता सृष्टिकर्त्री ब्रह्मरूपा गोप्त्री गोविंदरूपिणी संहारिणी रुद्ररूपा तिरोधानकरीश्वरी सदाशिवानुग्रहदा पंचकृत्यपरायणा भानुमंडल मध्यस्था भैरवी भकमालिनी पद्मासना भगवती पद्मनाभ सहोदरी उन्मेषन्विषोत्पन्ना विपन्ना भुवनावलिः सहस्रशीर्षवदना सहस्राक्षी सहस्रपात आब्रह्मकीटजननी वर्णाश्रमविधायिनी निजाज्ञारूपनिगमा पुण्या पुण्यफलप्रदा श्रुतिसीमन्तसिन्दूरी कृतपादाब्जधूलिका सकलागमसन्दोहा शुक्तिसम्पुटमोत्तिका पुरुषार्थप्रदा पूर्णा भोगिनी भुवनेश्वरी अंबिकानादिनिधना हरिब्रह्मेन्द्रसेविता नारायणी नादरूपा नामरूपा विवर्जिता ह्रींकारी ह्रीमती हृदया हेयोपादेयवर्जिता राजराजार्चिता राज्ञी रम्या राजीवलोचना रंजनी रमणीरस्या रणत्किङ्किणीमेखला रमा राकेन्दुवदना रतिरूपा रतिप्रिया रक्षाकरी राक्षसग्नि रामा रमणलम्पटा काम्या कामकलारूपा कदम्बकुसुमप्रिया कल्याणी जगती कंदा करुणा रससागरा कलावती कलालापा कांता कादम्बरी प्रिया वरदा वामनयना वारुणी मतविह्वला विश्वाधिका वेदवेद्या विंध्याचल निवासिनी विधात्री वेदजननी विष्णुमाया विलासिनी क्षेत्रस्वरूपा क्षेत्रेशी क्षेत्रक्षेत्रज्ञपालिनी क्षयवृद्धि निर्मुक्ता क्षेत्रपाल समर्चिता विजया विमला वंद्या वंदारुजनवत्सला वाग्वादिनी वामकेशी वह्निमण्डलवासिनी भक्तिमत्कल्पलतिका पशुपाश विमोचनी संहृता शेषपाषण्डा सदाचार प्रवर्तिका तापत्रयाग्नि संतप्ता समाह्लादन चंद्रिका तरुणी तापसाराध्या तनुमध्यातमोपहा चिदस्तत्पथलक्षार्था चिदेकरसरूपिणी स्वात्मानंदलवीभूता ब्रह्माद्यानंद संततिः परा प्रत्यक्षिति रूपा पश्यन्ती परदेवता मध्यमा वैखरी रूपा भक्तमानसंसिका कामेश्वर प्राणनाडी कृतज्ञा कामपूजिता शृंगार रस संपूर्णा जया जालंधर स्थिता ओड्यानपीठ निलया बिंदुमंडलवासिनी रहो यागक्रमाराध्या रहस्तर्पणतर्पिता सद्यः प्रसादिनी विश्वसाक्षिणी साक्षिवर्जिता षडंग देवता युक्ता षाड्गुण्य परिपूरिता नित्यक्लिन्ना निरुपमा निर्वाण सुखदायिनी नित्या षोडशिका रूपा श्रीकंठार्धशरीरिणी प्रभावती प्रभारूपा प्रसिद्धा परमेश्वरी मूल प्रकृतिरव्यक्ता व्यक्ता व्यक्तस्वरूपिणी व्यापिनी विविधाकारा विद्या विद्यास्वरूपिणी महाकामेश नयना कुमुदाह्लाद कौमुदी भक्तहार्दतमो भेदा भानुमद्भानुसन्ततिः शिवदूती शिवाराध्या शिवमूर्तिर्शिवङ्करी शिवप्रिया शिवपरा शिष्टेष्टा शिष्टपूजिता अप्रमेया स्वप्रकाशा मनोवाचामगोचरा चिच्छक्तिश्चेतना रूपा जडशक्तिर्जडात्मिका गायत्री व्याहृति सन्दा द्विजबृन्दनिषेविता तत्त्वासना तत्त्वमयी पञ्चकोशान्तरस्थिता निस्सीममहिमा नित्ययौवनामदशालिनी मदघूर्णितरक्ताक्षी मदपाटलगण्डभूः चन्दनद्रवदिग्धाङ्गी चाम्पेयकुसुमप्रिया कुशला कोमलाकारा कुरुकुल्लाकुलेश्वरी कुलकुण्डालया कौलमार्गतत्परसेविता कुमारगणनाथाम्बा तुष्टिपुष्टिर्मतिर्धतिः शान्तिस्वस्तिमती कान्तिर्नन्दिनी विघ्ननाशिनी तेजोवती त्रिनयना लोलाक्षी कामरूपिणी मालिनी हंसिनी माता मलयाचलवासिनी सुमुखी नलिनी शुभ्रशोभना सुरनायिका कालकंठी कांतिमते शोभिनी सूक्ष्मरूपिणी वज्रेश्वरी वामदेवी वयोवस्था विवर्जिता सिद्धेश्वरी सिद्धविद्या सिद्धमाता यशस्विनी विशुद्धिचक्रनिलया रक्तवर्णा त्रिलोचना खट्वांगादि प्रहरणा वदनैकसमन्विता पायसान्न प्रियात्वक्स्था पशुलोकभयंकरी अमृतादि महाशक्ति समृता डाकिनीश्वरी अनाहताब्जनिलया श्यामा भावदनद्वया दंशोज्ज्वलाक्षमालादि धरा रुधिर संसिता कालरात्र्यादिशक्तियोगः वृता स्निग्धौदन प्रिया महावीरेन्द्र वरदा राकिन्यम्बा स्वरूपिणी मणिपूराब्जनिलया वदनत्रय संयुता वज्रादिकायुधोपेता डामर्यादिभिरावृता रक्तवर्णा मांसनिष्ठा गुडान्न प्रीतमानसा समस्त भक्त सुखदा लाकिन्यम्बा स्वरूपिणी स्वाधिष्ठानाम्बुजगता चतुर्वक्त्रमनोहरा शूलाद्यायुध संपन्ना पीतवर्णातिगर्विता मेधो निष्ठा मधुप्रीता बंदिन्यादिसमन्विता दध्यन्नासक्त हृदया काकिनी रूपधारिणी मूलाधाराम्बुजारूढ़ा पंचवक्त्रास्ति संस्थिता अंकुशादि प्रहरणा वरदादिनिषेविता मुद्गौदनासक्तचित्ता साकिन्यम्बा स्वरूपिणी आज्ञाचक्राब्ज निलया शुक्लवर्णा षडानना मज्जा संस्था हंसवती मुख्यशक्ति समन्विता हरिद्रानैकरसिका हाकिनी रूपधारिणी सहस्रदल पद्मस्था सर्ववर्णोपशोभिता सर्वायुधधरा शुक्ला संस्थिता सर्वतोमुखी सर्वौदन प्रीतचित्ता याकिन्यम्बा स्वरूपिणी स्वाहा स्वधा मधिर्मेधा श्रुतिस्मृतिरनुत्तमा पुण्यकीर्ति पुण्यलभ्या पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तना पुलोमजार्चिता बंध मोचनी बर्बरालका विमर्शरूपिणी विद्या वेदाद्यगत्प्रसूः सर्वव्याधिप्रशमनी सर्ववृत्तिनिवारिणी अग्रगण्या चिन्त्यरूपा कलिकल्मषनाशिनी कात्यायनी कालहन्त्री कमलाक्षनिषेविता ताम्बूलपूरितमुखी दाडिमी कुसुमप्रभा मृगाक्षी मोहिनी मुख्या मृडानी मित्ररूपिणी नित्यतृप्ता भक्तनिधिर्नियन्त्री निखिलेश्वरी मैत्र्यादिवासनालभ्या महाप्रलयसाक्षिणी पराशक्ति परानिष्ठा प्रज्ञानगणरूपिणी माध्वीपानालसामत्ता मातृकावर्णरूपिणी महाकैलास निलया मृणाल मृददौर्लता महनीया दया मूर्तिर्महासाम्राज्यशालिनी आत्मविद्या महाविद्या श्रीविद्या कामसेविता श्रीषोडशाक्षरी विद्या त्रिकूटा कामकोटिका कटाक्ष किंकरी भूता कमला कोटिसेविता शिरस्थिता चंद्रनिभा भालस्तेन्द्रधनुप्रभा हृदयस्तार विप्रख्या त्रिकोणांतरदीपिका दाक्षायनी दैत्यहंत्री दक्षयज्ञविनाशिनी दरांदोलित दीर्घाक्षी दरहासोज्ज्वलन्मुखी गुरुमूर्तिर्गुणनिधिर्गोमाता गुहजन्मभूः देवेशी दंडनीतिस्था दरहाकाशरूपिणी प्रतिपन्मुख्य राकांता तिथिमंडल पूजिता कलात्मिका कलानाथा काव्यालापविनोदिनी सचामररमावाणी सव्यदक्षिण सेविता आदिशक्तिर्मेयात्मा परमा पावनाकृतिः अनेक कोटि ब्रह्मांड जननी दिव्य विग्रह क्लींकारी केवला गुह्या कैवल्यपददायिनी त्रिपुराति जगद्वंद्या त्रिमूर्तिर्सदृशेश्वरी त्र्यक्षरी दिव्यगंधाढ्या सिंधूर तिलकांचिता उमा शैलेन्द्रतनया गौरी गंधर्वसेविता विश्वगर्भा स्वर्णगर्भा वरदा वागधीश्वरी ध्यानगम्या परिच्छेद्या ज्ञानदा ज्ञान विग्रह सर्ववेदांत संवेद्या सत्यानंद स्वरूपिणी लोपामुद्रार्चिता लीला क्लुप्त ब्रह्मांड मंडला अदृश्यादृश्यरहिता विज्ञात्री वेद्यवर्जिता योगिनी योगदा योग्या योगानंदा युगंधरा इच्छाशक्ति ज्ञानशक्ति क्रियाशक्ति स्वरूपिणी सर्वाधारा सुप्रतिष्ठा सदसद्रूपधारिणी अष्टमूर्तिरजा जैत्री लोकयात्रा विधायिनी एकाकिनी भूमरूपा निर्द्वैताद्वैतवर्जिता अन्नदा वसुधा वृद्धा ब्रह्मात्मैक्य स्वरूपिणी बृहति ब्राह्मणी ब्राह्मी ब्रह्मानंद बलिप्रिया भाषा रूपा बृहत्सेना भावा भाव विवर्जिता सुखाराध्या शुभकरी शोभना सुलभागति राजराजेश्वरी राज्यदायिनी राज्यवल्लभा राजत्कृपा राजपीठ निवेशित निजाश्रिता राज्यलक्ष्मी कोशनाथा चतुरंगबलेश्वरी साम्राज्यदायिनी सत्यसंधा सागरमेखला दीक्षिता दैत्यशमनी सर्वलोक अवशंकरी सर्वार्थदात्री सावित्री सच्चिदानंदरूपिणी देशकाला परिच्छिन्ना सर्वगा सर्वमोहिनी सरस्वती शास्त्रमयी कुहाम्बा गुह्यरूपिणी सर्वोपाधिविनिर्मुक्ता सदाशिव पतिव्रता संप्रदायेश्वरी साध्वी गुरुमंडलरूपिणी कुलोत्तीर्णा भगाराध्या माया मधुमतीमही गणाम्बा गुह्यकाराध्या कोमलांगी गुरुप्रिया स्वतंत्रा सर्वतंत्रेशी दक्षिणामूर्तिरूपिणी सनकादिसमाराध्या शिवज्ञानप्रदायिनी चित्कलानंदकलिका प्रेमरूपा प्रियंकरी नामपारायण प्रीता नंदिविद्या नटेश्वरी मिथ्या जगदधिष्ठाना मुक्तिदा मुक्तिरूपिणी लास्य प्रिया लयकरी लज्जारंबादिवंदिता भवदा वसुधा वृष्टि पापारण्यदवानला दौर्भाग्यतूलवातूला जराध्वांतरविप्रभा भाग्याब्दिचंद्रिका भक्तचित्तकेकी घना घना रोगपर्वतदंबोलिर्मृत्युधारु कुटारिका महेश्वरी महाकाली महाग्रासा महाशना अपर्णा चंडिका चंडमुंडासुरनिषूदिनी क्षराक्षरात्मिका सर्वलोकेशी विश्वधारिणी त्रिवर्गदात्री सुभगा त्र्यंबका त्रिगुणात्मिका स्वर्गापवर्गदा शुद्धा जपा पुष्पनिभाकृतिः ओजोवती दुतिधरा यज्ञरूपा प्रियव्रता दुराराध्या दुराधर्षा पाटली कुसुमप्रिया महती मेरुनिल्या मंदार कुसुमप्रिया वीराराध्या विराट रूपा विरजा विश्वतोमुखी प्रत्यग रूपा पराकाशा प्राणदा प्राणरूपिणी मार्तांड भैरवाराध्या मंत्रिणी न्यस्तराज्यधूः त्रिपुरेशी जयत्सेना त्रिस्त्रैगुण्या परापरा सत्यज्ञानानंद रूपा सामरस्य परायणा कपर्दिनी कलामाला कामधक्कामरूपिणी कलानिधि काव्यकला रसज्ञा रससेवतिः पुष्टा पुरातना पूज्या पुष्करा पुष्करेक्षणा परंज्योतिः परंधामा परमाणुः परात्परा पाशहस्ता पाशहंत्री परमंत्र विभेदिनी मूर्ता मूर्ता नित्यतृप्ता मुनिमानसंसिका सत्यव्रता सत्यरूपा सर्वांतर्यामिनी सती ब्रह्माणी ब्रह्मजननी बहुरूपा बुधार्चिता प्रसवित्री प्रचंडाज्ञा प्रतिष्ठा प्रकटाकृतिः प्राणेश प्राणेश्वरी प्राणदात्री पंचाशत्पीठरूपिणी विशृंखला विविक्तस्था वीरमाता वियत्प्रसूः मुकुंदा मुक्तिनिलया मूलविग्रहरूपिणी भावज्ञा भवरोगग्नि भवचक्रप्रवर्तिनी छन्दस्सारा शास्त्रसारा मंत्रसाला तलोदरी उदारकीर्तिरुद्धामा वैभवावर्णरूपिणी जन्ममृत्युजरातप्ता जन विश्रांतिदायिनी सर्वोपनिषदुत्कृष्टा शान्त्यातीता कलात्मिका गंभीरा गगनान्तस्था गर्विता गानलोलुपा कल्पनारहिता काष्ठा कांता कांतार्धविग्रहा कार्यकारण निर्मुक्ता कामकेली तरंगिता कनत कनकताटंका लीला विग्रहधारिणी अजाक्षय विनिर्मुक्ता मुग्धा क्षिप्रप्रसादिनी अंतर्मुख समाराध्या बहिर्मुखसुदुर्लभा त्रयी त्रिवर्ग निलया त्रिस्था त्रिपुरमालिनी निरामया निरालंबा स्वात्मा रामा सुधासृतिः संसार पंक निर्मग्ना समुद्धरण पंडिता यज्ञ प्रिया यज्ञकर्त्री यजमानस्वरूपिणी धर्माधारा धनाध्यक्षा धनधान्य विवर्धिनी विप्रप्रिया विप्ररूपा विश्वभ्रमणकारिणी विश्वग्रासा विद्रुमाभा वैष्णवी विष्णुरूपिणी अयो निर्यो निल्या कूटस्थाकुलरूपिणी वीरगोष्ठी या वीरा नैष्कर्म्या नादरूपिणी विज्ञानकला नागल्या विदग्धा वैन्दवासना तत्वाधिका तत्वमयी तत्वमर्थस्वरूपिणी सामगान प्रिया सौम्या सदाशिवकुटुम्बिनी सव्यापसव्य मार्गस्था सर्वापद्विनिवारिणी स्वस्था स्वभाव मधुरा धीरा धीर समर्चिता चैतन्यार्घ्य समाराध्या चैतन्य कुसुम प्रिया सदोदिता सदातुष्टा तरुणादित्यपाटला दक्षिणा दक्षिणाराध्या दरस्मेर मुखाम्बुजा कौलिनी केवलानर्घ्या कैवल्यपददायिनी स्तोत्र प्रिया सुधिमती श्रुति संस्कृत वैभवा मनस्विनी मानवती महेशी मंगलाकृतिः विश्वमाता जगद्धात्री विशालाक्षी विरागिनी प्रगल्भा परमोदारा परामोदा मनोमयी व्योमकेशी विमानस्था वज्रिणी वामकेश्वरी पंचयज्ञ प्रिया पंच प्रेत मंचाधिशायिनी पंचमी पंचभूतेशी पंचसंख्योपचारिणी शाश्वती शाश्वतैश्वर्या शर्मदा शंभुमोहिनी धरा धरसुता धन्या धर्मिणी धर्मवर्धिनी लोकातीता गुणातीता सर्वातीता शमात्मिका बंधुक कुसुम प्रख्या बाला लीला विनोदिनी सुमंगली सुखकरी सुवेश अड्या सुवासिनी सुवासिन्यर्चन प्रीता शोभना शुद्धमानसा बिंदु तर्पण संतुष्टा पूर्वजा त्रिपुरांबिका दशमुद्रा समाराध्या त्रिपुरा शिवशंकरी ज्ञानमुद्रा ज्ञानगम्या ज्ञानज्ञेय स्वरूपिणी योनिमुद्रा त्रिखंडेशी त्रिगुण अंबा त्रिकोणगा अनघाद्भुत चारित्र्य वांछिता अर्थप्रदायिनी अभ्यासादिश यज्ञाता शरद्भातीत रूपिणी अव्याज करुणामूर्तिरज्ञानध्वांत दीपिका आबालगोप विदिता सर्वानुल्लंघ शासना श्रीचक्रराज निलया श्रीमत् त्रिपुर सुंदरी श्री शिवा शिव शक्त्यैक्य रूपिणी ललितांबिका एवं श्रीललिता देव्या नाम्नां सहस्रकं जगुः। ओम इति श्री ब्रह्मांड पुराणे उत्तरखंडे श्री हयग्रीवागस्य संवादे श्री ललिता सहस्रनाम स्तोत्र कथनं संपूर्णम्। I will just be back. Give me 1 minute. Let us begin with the invocation. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Satchidanandarupaya Vishvotpatyadihetave Tapatraya Vinashaya Shri Krishnaya Vayam Numaha Yam Pravrajantamanopetamapeta Dvaipayano Virahakatara Ajuhava Putreti Tanmayataya Taravobhineduhu तं सर्वभूतहृदयं मुनिमानतोऽस्मि। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतः चार्थेष्वभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदाय आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयः यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि धर्मः प्रोज्झितकैतवोऽत्र परमः निर्मत्सराणां सतां वेद्यं वास्तवमत्र वस्तु शिवदं तापत्रयोन्मूलनम् श्रीमद्भागवते महामुनिकृते किं वा परैरीश्वरः सद्यो हृद्यवरुध्यतेऽत्र कृतिभिः शुश्रूषुभिस्तत्क्षणात् निगमकल्पतरोर्गलितं फलं शुकमुखादमृतद्रवसंयुतं पिबत भागवतं रसमालयं मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः। So Bhagawan Brahma Ji, his timeline, his period was discussed in the last chapter, and such Brahma Ji did Bhagavan's Aradhana, Puja, and he had the darshan of Bhagavan, he did his stuti, and according to his instructions, he started creating the creation. Now, how did he create this creation? That Bhagavan is Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Karana. This concept has not to be forgotten. Otherwise, our understanding of this creation becomes pretty hollow from various standpoints. Abhinna nimitta upadana karana, which I'll keep hammering in again and again and again and again. It means that Ishvara himself is the both material cause as well as the intelligence cause. He is also the Karana and the Upakarana. He is also the one who is the instrumental cause as well. So there is nothing other than this Ishvaratva that can be thought of. Why is this important? Ishvara is considered as, Ishvara is understood as, not just considered, understood as the Sat Swarupa. Sat meaning the existential reality or principle. Now, when you say that there is material something other than that Ishvara, then it becomes non-existent. That which is non-existent, there cannot be a possibility. Plus, that which it is separate from, that which it is other than, the moment you say that there can be something as possibility, that there is something that can exist other than that Ishvara, then that Ishvara, one thing is that which is created is non-existing, or that Ishvara itself can be considered as that which is wrongly claimed as a existential principle. So the moment you say that, then it becomes that the all pervasiveness, ever existing principle is denied, and that is not who we call as Ishvara. Therefore, it is quite entirely different. We cannot just say, oh, the other books have also described creation, here also there is description of creation, creation look similar, both are talking the same. No, both are talking entirely two different aspects, not just at a theological level, but at the very principal issue. So that difference has to be understood. Therefore, don't jump to the conclusion that this book and that book, therefore this both are talking about creation, so both of them are the same to same. No, shame to shame when we compare it as same to same, pun intended. So with that aspect, what does it mean? That this Ishvara itself has expanded and expressed as this exuberance called creation. That every iota of this creation is nothing but that Paramatma alone. Therefore, when we as the Sanatana Dharmi, Hindu, Vaidika Dharmi, when we invoke to worship, whether it is a stone, whether it is a tree, whether it is a mountain or a river or whatever format it be, what we are invoking is this Satchidananda Ghana Paramatma alone in that form. Therefore, it is not in any way different kinds of gods and goddesses that we are worshipping. The invocation is that substratum, that one Satchidananda Parabrahma Paramatma alone is being worshipped. Satyam Param Dhimahi. That Satya alone is being invoked, pursued, and to be understood. So with that, Brahmaji, as he started creating, we come into the 12th chapter of the 3rd canto. There Maitreya Rishiji, without being asked a question, because he is now shifting gears, so he does not have to be reminded by Vidurji that, oh, last chapter you spoke this, therefore you have to be focusing on this particular aspect. That is for our Devi group, wherein week after week or 1 week there is a gap, therefore the reminder has to be given. Maitreya Rishiji is continuing continuously, so he doesn't require a upodghata, an introductory bridge or a link. So he continues straight away. Maitreya uvacha iti te varnadakshattaha कालाख्या परमात्मनः महिमा वेदगर्भोत्थ यथास्राक्षी निबोध में. So he says, please listen that in the last chapter, when we also talked about the entire spread of the understanding of Kala, from the smallest possible to the largest possible dimension of time, was spoken in all its elaborateness. So Trasarenu, and from that we calculate the Triti, and from Triti various multiples of it. There is a Kshana becomes the hour becomes the day, and in a day there are Prahara or Yama, and such one day and such night. Whenever we say day and night, these many praharas, people always get confused, because in English, when we use the calendar reference, when we say day, we are talking about 24 hours. For us, in our calculation, the day is Suryodaya to Suryasta, then Chandrodaya to Chandrasta is night. So both have to be calculated. Then comes the calculation of 15 days, which is the moon's waning and waxing, Krishna Paksha and Shukla Paksha. Then comes the Rutu, which is 2 months put together, 2 masas put together is one Rutu. Then 6 months put together becomes Ayana, Dakshinayana and Uttarayana. Thus, a Purna Ayush of a human is 100 years minimum. So today, with all the development, when we say that 75, 80, we have increased the life expectancy, I don't know whether we have increased, or maybe yes, we have increased it from the other pathetic condition that we were in. We have slowly increased it, but definitely the equilibrium has changed from it being anything less than 100. So when we see Mahabharata times, the average age that Bhagavan Krishna also, his Leela, he concluded at 125. Bhishma, Pitamaha, he on the battlefield was 140 plus. His uncle is Shantanu's brother. So he was also in the battlefield. So imagine that there are so many generations that have been in that war. From the standpoint of looking at the average age, mean age, so it was pretty higher than 100 years, but minimum 100 years is the Purnayush. Now with that comparison, when you compare it with Brahmaji's 1 day and 1 night, it is not even a speck in the speck. Iota of a speck, maybe we can consider as yours and ours lifetime span. So Brahmaji, thus having several manus in a day, 14 manus in a day, that is his 1 day length. Similarly, his 1 night length. So you get to get the picture. Such 1 day and 1 night put together, he has 1 masa, and then he has 1 year. Thus he has 100 years. अब कर लो बात, सोच लो, ब्रह्मा जी in all his expansion, it is a huge time cycle from Triti all the way to that cycle of Brahma ji, that we call as creation. So when we say creation and Bhagavan and Ishvara, it is not a tiny entity that we are talking about as Ishwaratva or Bhagavan or as that which is worship worthy. We are talking as the substratum of this entire space-time continuum. The Adhara, the substratum of it, as Ishvara. That Ishvara started his creative surge. So when he started, he from his first surge came the 5 vrittis, because he immediately recognized that which he did not know. So there was Tama, Moha, Mahamoha, Tamisra, Andha Tamisra, Avidya, Asmita, Raga, Dvesha, Abhinivesha. So these were the 5 that he recognized. And he said, he talked to himself. He said, look, Mr. Brahma, that ain't good enough. Come on, focus better. And then this time around, when he created the first created Sankalpa Manasika Putra, they are the 4 Sanat Kumaras. Sanaka, Sanandana, Sanatana, Sanat Kumara. These are the 4. Sanaka, Sanandana, Sanatana, and Sanat Kumara. Sanakam cha Sanandan cha Sanatha Mahatma Bhuhu Sanat Kumaran cha Munin. So these were the 4 that Brahmaji first Sankalpa he created. Then he said, Tan babhashe svabhu putran praja srujata putrakaha. So he said, Bete log, go ahead. I am the Brahma of this creation. I urge you, I command you to go and start the creative surge. As soon as Brahmaji said this, all 4 of them looked at each other and then looked at Brahmaji. In Hindi they said, Thenga. They said, Brahmaji, oh father, we have been born out of your highest sattvic nature. We are not interested in creation. We would rather be absorbed in the Nivritti Marga. So those who make statements, rather incomprehensive, stupid, foolish statements, saying that the Nivritti Marga or the Sannyasa Marga was created very recently by either Adi Shankaracharya ji or his guru, are foolish of the highest order. Okay, gali enough. Now coming back to the point, it gets irritating because they have not studied any Shastra or scripture or the reference. They just make some khayali pulao. The very first creation, Sanat Kumaras, they said, we will take to Nivritti Marga, and they took sannyasa. Now, as soon as that happened, Brahma Ji, unko gussa aaya. He got angry. He was like, with the best of my sankalpa, I created these 4 and they 4 have gone. Now, from that angry moment, there was this Neela Lohita that was born out of Brahmaji from his shoulders. He must have been like, so from his shoulders came out. And as soon as these were born, these Neela Lohita, he started crying. Like a small child when they are born, so he was crying. Savai, 8th shloka, Savai ruroda devanam purvajo bhagavan bhavaha namani kurume dhataha sthanani cha jagadguru. And in between their crying, they said, Ab paida to kar diya, you have given us birth, please put a name tag to us, give us a place to live. And he was like, okay, don't cry anymore. He said, because you are born crying, you will be thus therefore named as Rudra. Rodati iti Rudra. When I was doing the Rudra Prashna Pravachan, I had mentioned it several times that one of the definitions of Rudra is Rodati. But he is also quite capable of Rodayati, makes the Jiva cry. He is also the one who has solutions for this Bhavasagara, therefore he is called as Riktrayate iti Rudra, the one who helps the Jiva cross across this Bhavasagara, Therefore, he is considered as the Bheshaja, the medicine man, who takes us across this Bhavasagara. There are several definitions, but here we will limit it to Rodati iti Rudra. So the first song that probably was written, Rote huwe aate hai sab, Rudra came in that way. And to him, to that Rudra, Neel Lohita, because he was a mixture of red and blue tinge. So he was known as Neel Lohita. So to him, Bhagawan Brahma Ji said that you will be known by other names also. Manyu, Manu, Mahinasa, Mahan, Shiva, Rutadhvaja, Ugrareta, Bhava, Kala, Vamadeva, Dhritavrata. So these are all various aspects of you. Now to all these aspects, I give in marriage these aspects that you would be married into. Dhi, Vritti, Ushana, Uma, Niyuta, Sarpi, Ila, Ambika, Iravati, Sudha, Diksha. These are called the 11 Rudrani. So 11 Rudras and 11 Rudranis. And he gave them several places here to live. Hridaya, Indra, Prana, Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Jala, Prithvi, Surya, Chandrama, Tapa. So wherever there is tapas being done, there is Rudra Bhagavan already there. That inspired moment of doing penance, Rudra Bhagavan is already there. So after having given them all the place, Rudrani, and I said, now my desire is that you go now propitiate and create santana. Now, genetically, however, Rudra was in that same, terrifying form he created. Then Brahmaji is like, he must have scratched all his foreheads. He said, Are Bapre, these people are like devouring the entire, because the Rudra Ganas that were born, they were devouring the entire creation. Then he tapped on Bhagavan Rudra, Bhaiya, ruko. Stop. Gather them all. Can you 11 sit down, do your tapas, gather your energies, lift yourself up, and from the higher perspective, start creation again? They said, yes, sir. Ji Pitaji. See, the first set that were born are usually when you have boys and girls, it feels like they're two separate species. Those of you who have seen a close perspective, they may be born even as twins, but they'll still be separate species. Boys will have उनका दिमाग ही अलग चलता रहता है. Because the first creation, Brahmaji wanted something, they wanted completely opposite direction. The second one was a little more obedient. They said, okay, we will do tapas. And they controlled themselves. The 20th sloka. Bādamityam upavantrya vivesha tapasevanam. They did their tapas. And as their result of that tapas, there were these following that were created. Marichi, Atri, Angira, Pulastya, Pulaha, Kratu, Bhrugu, Vasishta, Daksha, and 10th one, Naradji. So Brahmaji created these 10. So Naradji is also a Manasaputra of that Brahmaji. And the story goes that when this Narada went to his brother Daksha, and we will listen to that story when we come. The best attitude of Naradji's attitude. He is the one who we looking at who we can learn that even when there is the worst of the conditions, that is, how do you translate it into being a blessing? Only you can learn it from Naradji. Because Daksha Prajapati started creating his creative surge, and Naradji started taking one by one, batch by batch, and saying, look at our senior, look at our elder, they are Sanat Kumaras. What did they do? As soon as they were born, they were interested in the Nivrutti Marga. So you could say Naradji is the first missionary. So Daksha Prajapati gets mad at him and he gives a curse, saying, you are a menace and a nuisance only if you stay in one place, right? I give you curse that you will never be staying in one place more than the time required to milk a cow. So Naradji said, thank you. Daksha Prajapati said, oh, that is a curse. He said, thank you. I will be attached to any place only if I stay longer. Now because of your curse, now I am blessed that I will not stay in a place longer. Don't you dare take it back. I am really blessed. So that is the attitude that one should see. However, the situation be around, the experience that it opens up, it unfolds. How best can we turn it around to see it as a stepping stone for our growth consistently? He did not even waste a moment. Ayayyo, why did this happen to me? Ayayyo, why did this happen to me only? Nah, it is a waste of time in thinking. It happened. He gave a curse. Now let me transform that curse into my benefit. That we have as choice. Anyway, continuing, he says that there was Saraswati ji created, and Saraswati ji became his Ardhangi. Then these who were created, all the 10 that were created, they came and said that it doesn't look nice. Now the children, they did not understand. It is like supposing if I say that you create your own food and you eat it. It is not considered as wrong. Similarly, Brahmaji created Saraswati ji and then made her, and because the children did not understand and they pointed fingers at him and blamed him, he said, okay, fine. As a prayaschitta, he left that body and came again, took another birth, another form that he expressed. Same Chaturanana. Actually, by that time, he was not Chaturanana, he was Panchanana. He got downgraded later by Bhagawan Shiva, where one of the heads were removed. He got downgraded to quad processor. Otherwise, he was born with penta processing. So that Brahmaji took the second form and he reconciled his entire effort and thought. He said, okay, let me do the higher to lower. From the highest that can be, from the highest sattvikta that can be thought of, let me start the creation in an order. So what did he do? He started with the concept that for all this that I am envisioning with through these Prajapatis, there has to be a direction given. Therefore, he created the Veda, Upaveda, Nyaya Shastra, Hota, Udghata, Advaryu, Brahma, and the various directions that are given for this Hota, Udghata, Advaryu, Brahma. Now, who are these Hota, Udghata, Advaryu, Brahma? Today, when we see that when we do some kind of a yajna, yaga, havan that we do, there is one priest that we book. especially with the American reference, they come with a what you call the aluminum tray or something, and then create the yagna kunda in your fireplace, fire pit. It is like my cultural reference goes through several shifts to try understanding and assimilate. Because when you talk about Homakunda and Havan Kriya, there has to be a certain Ishtika. Ishtika is the bricks. The size of the brick, the dimension of the brick is also very specific. Then there are on four sides, these four priests sit. Who are they? Hota, Udghata, Advaryu, Brahma. Now each one of them has to be a specialization wherein they learn. One is good at Rig Veda, memorized, it is on their fingertip. The second one is with Yajurveda, both Krishna Yajurveda, Shukla Yajurveda. Then the Samaveda. And then the Brahma, he knows all four Vedas. And the Vidhi, as to how to be doing it, with what ingredients, at what time, with what flame. In fact, the flames are also of several kinds, and in one certain kind of flame alone, the ahutis are done, then prayaschitta is done. So various kinds of flames are also to be understood. A very subtle act. It is not a pyromania wherein you just light a fire and keep dumping swaha, swaha, swaha. So the Hota is a specialized one who knows. He is the one who you can today call as Chaturvedi, the one who knows all four Vedas. And he is also the conductor of this entire Yajna Vidhi. So there is a Yajamana also. So for that Yajamana's sake, these Hota, Udghata, Advaryu, Brahma, when they sit down and get this Yajna Vidhi done, he would say, hey Hota, from the Rig Veda, this particular Samhita, this particular Anuvaka, this particular mantra. So Hota cannot be sitting down with his laptop or a cell phone and then start searching for it and then flipping it and say, por favor, 1 second and check it. And no, it has to be on their fingertips. That as soon as that mantra is requested, they immediately start chanting. And they say the first mantra of Rig Veda, as soon as that is Om, it has to be immediate. That it has to be on their fingertips. Agnimi ide purohitam. Ekam phatak se aana chahiye. So he created that vidhi or system. Then Vidurji says, from all these several heads of Brahmaji, what are all the other things that were created? He says the directions were created, then the Veda Richas were created, and along with that, the Upaveda, which is the Ayurveda, Dhanurveda, Gandharva Veda, Sthapatya Veda. These are the four Upavedas. So what are they? He said Ayurveda, Chikitsa Shastra. That through which the longevity is promised. In today's language, if I have to translate, that Chikitsa wherein it does not have side effects but has the effect of increasing lifespan by reducing the diseases. That is Ayurveda. Now Ayurveda has several aspects. One has to go through Charaka Samhita, Sushruta Samhita and Vagbhatta Samhita to understand the enormous work of the Ayurveda. Those are the three books within Ayurveda. Then comes Dhanurveda. Dhanurveda it has the entire field of Astra Shastra Vidya with the various aspects of how to be on a offensive to defend that which should be defended. So Astra Shastra. Shastra is that which is held in hand like the sword. Astra is that which is launched, missile technology. How subtle were this missile technology? If you have seen the missiles, when you see the American warship go to the Gulf of, in the sea at the Gulf, in the Middle East, they have to take that entire shipload of it and then launch from there with the coordinates. When the desert storm started, they had to finish up their Scud missiles, and they would just shoot it at a direction. Gira to gira, phuta to phuta, nahi phuta to nahi phuta. That was the kind. Then came the Patriot, which was guided missiles. But to carry all of that, the astra that we are talking about are those that which can be invoked in any padartha. You remember Mahabharata, Ashwathama was cornered into a hut. क्यों? अश्वत्थामा जरा हट के था. He was cornered in that hut, and with no other way to escape, he pulls out a straw from the roof, and in that he invokes the Brahmastra. So you don't have to carry the missile, like, lug it all the way and I have this nuke bomb and, I am carrying it all over there. I am going to release it. I have the coordinates. No, you can invoke that in a straw. And it is purely on the mantra shakti level. Astra Shastra. So there are various kinds of Astra Shastra that are talked about in Dhanur Veda. Then the Gandharva Veda. Gandharva Veda, which takes its essence from the Sama Veda and further expands into the fine arts, specifically talking about the music. Some of the most ancient musical instruments referred to in the Vedic literature are the Mridanga, Veena. So it is from that ancient time. कोई आज की नहीं है. It started from there. At a later point, in about 47th shloka, he's around there. There is this Saptaswaras are also introduced. Yeah, it is in the 47th shloka, wherein he says, for the pleasure of Brahmaji, he now created these Saptaswaras. 47th, Swaraha Sapta Viharena Bhavantisma Prajapate. So these Saptaswaras, which are the Nishada, Rishabha, Gandhara, Shadja, Madhyama, Dhaivata and Panchama. These 7 swaras were also created. Look at the references. You talk of any and it is mentioned. So it is just an introduction to specifically go study on each one of them. That in itself is a field to go research into. Then the last of the Upaveda is the Sthapatya Veda. Today we are told that the arch was invented somewhere else and the domes were invented somewhere else, and all of these descriptions are very clearly given in the Sthapatya Veda. How does one Shilpa Shastra Vidya Kala? I keep referring to my experience about walking through southern India. I had this rare opportunity to be hosted in a Shilpi's house. So he was the head Shilpi. He lived around Chidambaram area. And I was a stranger, I was in a temple, and he says, no, I would like to host you. You come stay with me. I think that was the only place where I stayed for 2 days, because he would not listen. But he was what I learned from him was amazing. One of the things that he told, that he brought out all his Shilpa Shastra, Agama Shastra in, and then he opened it up and started explaining. It was a different field altogether. So I come to realize when he explained that even when the stone is selected, the stones are also of three kinds, where there is the masculine stone, the feminine stone, and the neuter stone. If the Devi or Devata is to be sculpted out, the Devis are sculpted out with the feminine stone, the Devas are sculpted out in the masculine stone, the pillars, roof, and the other supporting structure is sculpted through the Napunsaka or the neuter gender stone. The stones also have gender. How do you realize that? He said he takes the chisel and the hammer, and the sound vibration that the stone produces, they tend to understand through that. And then he explained, saying, just like how if you are a keen ear, you can hear by knocking on the coconut if the coconut is good coconut or a bad coconut. I don't know if you have ever tested it that way. Right? If it is a good one, then it will have a resounding, revibrating sound. If it is a bad one, it will have a hollow sound. So he tried explaining it. I listened to it in awe. So even those details are given in this Shilpakala Shastra, wherein when the temple is to be built, the first and foremost aspect of that temple building is you look into the main vigraha that has to be established. The prana pratishtha of whichever is the main murti that has to be established, that murti decides how big is the temple going to be, how big the pranganas are going to be, and around which how much is the city that it can develop, and in its vibration of protection, how much can it protect. All of that are calculated, and then you start building it. The details that are given are the mathematical genius, architectural genius. You see it in Sthapatya Veda. Then Bhagawan Brahma Ji already took the sankalpa and created the Itihasa Purana. Itihasa Purana, we are talking about Ramayana, Mahabharata, and the Ashtadasha Purana, Ashtadasha Upapurana. They were also created. Then with his with one of the heads, he then created the several aspects of karma in the Karma Kanda. Then with the other head, he created Vidya, Dana, Tapa, Satya. These as the four pada for the ashrama vrittis to be practiced. Now he created four kinds in brahmacharya. What are these four kinds? It is given in the 42nd shloka. Savitram Prajapatyam, Savitram Prajapatyancha, Brahmam Chatha Brihat Tatha. So Savitra is that kind of brahmacharya vrata that is taken, wherein you start the Yajnopavita Samskara, and as soon as you have taken Yajnopavita Samskara, for 3 days you stay isolated and you do the tapas of Gayatri Mantra. That is the Savitra Brahmacharya, meaning that is the smallest. You cannot have the Yajnopavita Samskara done in the morning and marriage by afternoon. You have to have at least 3 days in between where you are a brahmachari. Then comes Prajapatya. Prajapatya is where you take the vow for 1 year of this brahmacharya vrata after the yajñopavita samskara is done. Then is Brahma, wherein you take the vow of practicing brahmacharya as long as you have the Vedadhyayana, the education that is happening, the Vedadhyayana, until it completes. Until then, you take the brahmacharya vrata. Then comes the Naishthika brahmacharya, which is called the fourth one, which is called the Brihat brahmacharya, which is Ajivana Paryantam. Specifically, when Ayyappa took that samadhi in the Sabarimala, he said, I want to remain as Naishthika brahmacharya. Therefore, in this house, in that particular house in Sabarimala, he said, keep it safe, keep it to this ruling that. There are several other Ayyappa temples, but there it is this Naishthika brahmachari that we are talking about. Then comes the Grihastha Vritti, then the Vritti Bheda, then the Sannyasa Bheda. So the Sannyasa Bheda, Kuti Chaka, Brihad, Bahudraka, Hamsa and Paramahamsa. So most of the most of the sannyasi who have a kutia and stay put in a place, they are called Kuti Chaka. Then the Bahudraka are those who look at the entire field of karma as tertiary and focus on only jnana abhyasa. Then Hamsa, those who are not trying to focus on jnana, they have already acquired it, now they are pursuing to abide in it. Then the Paramahamsa are the jnana nishtha, that which the Upanishads talk about as those who are Shrotriya and Brahmanishtha. Brahmanishtatvam here specifically means those who are in constant contemplation of that Brahma Tattva Vichara. Such ones are called Paramahamsa. Then there are several Vidyas, the entire 14 worlds, and then Bhagawan Brahma Ji created or revealed Omkara. Now this Omkara, where does Omkara come? The 44th shloka. Pranavo hyasya darhataha. So he gave the expression of that Omkara to this world. And then he created several of these Vedic meters. So there is Ushnika, Gayatri, Trishtup, Anushtup, Jagati, Pankti and Brihati. So these were the Vedic meters that were created. Now to give you a sample or an example, Anushtup Chandas is that which is, say, even Bhagavad Gita for that example is in Anushtup Chandas. Dharma Kshetre, Kurukshetre, Samaveta, Yutsava, Mahamaka, Pandavas Cheva, Kima Kurvata Sanjaya, 4 portions. Each portion has 8 syllables, so total of 32 syllables. Anushtup Chandas. Om Bhur Bhuvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. So this is in three parts, and each part is 8, so total of 24. That is called Gayatri Chanda. In fact, mantras in that chanda are called Gayatri mantra. There is not just one Gayatri mantra. Om Bhur Bhuvasvaha is one of them. Ekadantaya vidmahe vakratundaya dhimahi tanno dantif prachodayat. Om Tatpurushaya vidmahe mahadevaya dhimahi tanno rudrah prachodayat. Om Katyayanaya vidmahe Kanyakumari dhimahi tanno Durgah prachodayat. Several samples that I just said, they are all Gayatri mantra. So that meter he created. Then he created from his Jiva Shakti, Brahmaji created the Varnamala, the entire syllables, wherein there are swaras and then there are the consonants and then the Ushma Varna and then the Antastha. Ya, Sha, Sa, Ha. These are called the Ushma Varna, and then the Antastha are Ya, Ra, Lava. So, along with the vowels, then the consonants, Vyanjana, and then the Ushma and Antastha. So, all of these put together is the Varnamala. And again, I have already spoken about Varnamala several times, but a brief note is from the guttural sound, wherein the mouth is open, you make the sound from the base of your throat. It is where the mouth is open. And then the last syllable of the consonants is from the pavarga, which is ma. When do you make that sound ma? When the mouth is shut, when the lips are closed. So from a to ma, in between, all these groups of sounds are grouped together and put in each classification. Kavarga, ka, kha, ga, gha, ng. Don't ask a Tamilian. For them it is first ka, second ka, third ka and fourth. I'm not making, that is how their Varnamala is. So if you look at a Tamilian with a Sanskrit book, they will write first, fourth, fifth, so that they can remember which pronunciation to pronounce. I happened to see a book which had those classifications, let me put it that way, which happened to be with of a Tamilian. But usually it is in the rest of the bhasha that has been born out of Sanskritam, Devanagari, Devanagari is the script, bhasha is the Sanskritam. So it is the consonants are put in that classification. Now the best to understand would be the pavarga, pa, pha, ba, bha, ma. They are called oshtya, where the upper lip and the lower lip come together. Try pronouncing it with both lips disjoint, without them coming together. It will be an impossibility. There is a famous dialogue. ये मुश्किल ही नहीं, नामुमकिन है. Because it is called oshtya, that is the, it is not randomly put. There is a logic, there is a science, there is a purpose for how and why they have been put. And then in that same, he says, while at it, he also thought of, for his amusement, viharena. He created saptaswaraha viharena bhavanti sma prajapate. So he created those saptaswaras. And then he says that Brahmaji is very much, can be known as Shabda Brahma also. Therefore, when we talk about that understanding of Ishvara, there is a method, there is a process, there is a concept of Nada Brahma. Because even through that Nada, one can okay. Somebody tried to mute me. You cannot mute my voice. So, Nada Brahma, because Brahmaji is the very expression of that which is the Vaikhari, Vag Vaikhari, Shabdajari. So, the Vaikhari is the most expressed sound vibration. So, that is Brahmaji's Vyakta Swarupa. The Omkara or Pranava is the avyakta swarupa. So those who practice the nadopasana of especially pranava upasana, you practice it as the avyakta upasana where you are not chanting it out loud. It is come to that paripakvata wherein you are chanting it only in the manasik. So after that, Brahmaji, we are in the last segment. Brahmaji had now in the new body, right? So in that new body, when he was doing tapas, thinking, with all these Prajapatis that I have created, the 10 of them and their efforts, still the population is not growing to the pace that I want them to. So what did he do? As he was doing the tapas, his body split into two parts. From the one part came Manu, the other part came Shatarupa. So when you talk about Manu, he is not I see reference. Oh, that Manu wrote to Bhagawan Manu. Okay. And his wife Maharani Shatarupa. So as soon as they both got created, the physical first creation surge starts beginning. Up until now, it was Manasika creation of Brahmaji. From Manu and Shatarupa, whatever comes is the physical expression, the gross form, not in the subtle form. So from Manu and Shatarupa, they had 5 sons. Of them, we will hear the story of Priyavrata and Uttanapada. Now, they had two sons each, and they had 3 daughters, Akuti, Devahuti and Prasuti. Manuji, 5 santana, of which 2 are the sons and 3 daughters. So the 3 daughters, what did Manuji do? Ruchi Prajapati and Akuti, he got them married. Then the middle daughter, Devahuti and Kardama Rishi, he got them married. Prasuti and Daksha Prajapati, he got them married. Now whatever we call as creation, gross creation, the entire creation, the link goes back to one of these 3. So there is a lot that is going to come as the lineages of Ruchi and Akuti, Devahuti and Kardama, Daksha Prajapati and Prasuti. So that will be our next chapters. So the introduction to next chapter also done. So we will see that next week. So I'll stop here. I will request our Sushma Amma, if you can unmute yourself, Amma. Hari Om. 1 second. Yes. Can you please lead us with Hanuman Chalisa?
Sure.
Thank you.
श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज निज मनु मुकुर सुधारी बरनौ रघुबर बिमल जसु जो दायक फल चारी बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरौ पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरौ कलेस विकार जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपी सतिहु लोक उजागर रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन बरन विराज सुबेसा
कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा, हाथ व्रज और ध्वजा विराजे, कांधे मूंज जनेऊ साजे, शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन, तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन, विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर, राम काज करिबे को आतुर, प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबे को रसिया, राम लखन सीता मन बसिया, सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा, विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा, भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे, रामचंद्र के काज सवारे, लाए सजीवन लखन जियाए, श्री रघुबीर हर्षि उर लाए, रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई, तुम मम प्रिय भरतहि सम भाई, सहस बदन तुम्हरो जस गावे, अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावे, सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा, नारद सारद सहित अहिंसा, जम कुबेर दिक्पाल जहाते, कवि कोविद कह सकै कहाते, तुम उपकार सुग्रीवहि कीन्हा, राम मिलाय राजपद दीना, तुम्हरो मंत्र विभीषण माना, लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना, जुग सहस्त्र जो जन पर भानु, लेहो ताहि मधुर फल जानु, प्रभु मुद्रिका मेलि मुख माहि, जलधि लांघि गए अचरज नाही, दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते, सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हरे तेते, राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे, होत न आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे, सब सुख लहै तुम्हारी सरना, तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना, आपन तेज समारो आपे, तीनों लोक हाकते कापे, भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे, महावीर जब नाम सुनावे, नासे रोग हरे सब पीरा, जपत निरंतर हनुमत बीरा, संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावे, मन क्रम बचन ध्यान जो लावे, सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा, तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा, और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे, सोई अमित जीवन फल पावे, चारों जुग परताप तुम्हारा, है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा, साधु संत के तुम रखवारे, असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे, अष्ट सिद्धि नव निधि के दाता, असबर दीन जानकी माता, राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा, सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा, तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावे, जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे, अंत काल रघुबरपुर जाई, जहाँ जन्मि हरि भक्त कहाई, और देवता चित्तन धरई, हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई, संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा, जो सुमिरे हनुमत बलबीरा, जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई, कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाही, जो सत बार पाठ कर कोई, छूटहि बंदी महासुख होई, जो यह पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा, होय सिद्धि साखी गौरीसा, तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा, की जय नाथ हृदय मह डेरा, की जय नाथ हृदय मह डेरा, पवन तनय संकट हरन मंगल मूर्ति रूप, राम लखन सीता सहित हृदय बसौ सुरभूप, सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, उमापति महादेव की जय, बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय, सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय।
Hey. Thank you so much, Amma.
You're welcome.
ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात्। ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात्। ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात्। ॐ सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्तः शान्तः शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ। Stay safe everyone. See you in the next satsang. Until then,